Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminolly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, the question on everybody's lips: are you ready for GarbAugust 1.5? Well, maybe it's not on everybody's lips, but it is an important question because, in case you had forgotten or had missed it, next weekend, the 4th and 5th of February, is GarbAugust 1.5, the wasted weekend. What is GarbAugust? I hear you cry. So GarbAugust is a celebration of trashy literature. It's an event that I originally ran along with a load of co-hosts in August of last year. And we'll be running again in August of 2023. It was a huge amount of fun, and it was so much fun that I thought I would do a mini GarbAugust this February. So the idea of the Wasted Weekend is to get people used to reading trashy literature, people who maybe haven't read it in the past, so that come August, people are a bit more acclimatised to it, shall we say, and are happy to take part in GarbAugust. So I know that it's something not everyone reads, not everyone enjoys trashy books, but I personally think there is a huge amount to enjoy in them. They give me a great amount of pleasure, and as I've said before, when I describe a book as trashy, I am not judging the book at all. What I'm talking about is the kind of commercial aspects almost of the book. So books that are written to sell, books that cash in on public interest, public fears and things like that, and particularly and appropriately for the channel, quite often books that use sex and violence to sell themselves. So I've got 3 books here that I'm going to talk to you about, which I'm going to be reading for the Wasted Weekend. But I invite all of you out there to have a think about trashy books you might want to read. Maybe there's a book you've always wanted to read, but you felt nervous to because people might judge you. Well, trust me, during the Wasted Weekend, no one will judge you. The trashier, the better. And speaking of trashy, I'm wearing a Criminolly t-shirt today, which arrived yesterday. So yeah, what could be trashier than a middle-aged man wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the slogan of his channel? So yeah, I thought I would show you that. Anyway, let me talk to you about the 3 books I'm going to be reading to give you an idea of the kind of things that I would consider to be trashy literature. And then once I've done that, I've got a fantastic surprise for you, which I will talk to you about. A little added bonus for the Wasted Weekend. Right, so the 3 books I have got are Casca, God of Death by Barry Sadler. So the Casca series is a reasonably long-running series of men's adventure books. So men's adventure books are kind of like the male equivalent of Harlequin romances. So, mass-produced books, often written under pseudonyms, often in, kind of series about whereas Harlequin romances clearly are about romance, men's adventure books are kind of like action movies. So they are, about soldiers and freedom fighters and things like that, killing people effectively. So tons of fun. Think of kind of cheesy 70s and 80s action movies, and that gives you an idea of the kind of thing you'll get in a men's adventure book. The Casca series are about this guy who's called the Eternal Mercenary, who was a Roman soldier, who is immortal and fights through wars throughout the ages. So it's a series I've always wanted to read and have never got around to reading. So yeah, really looking forward to diving into this one. I've also got, so I've talked about Harlequin romances briefly there. I've also got a Harlequin romance, albeit this is published under the Mills and Broon label. So Mills and Boon is like the UK arm, if you like, of Harlequin, or maybe Harlequin's the UK arm of Mills and Boon. I can never remember which. So anyway, in the UK we get these nice doubles. So I bought this one because it had Appalachian Abduction by Debbie Herbert, which I wanted to read because I'd read the first book in that series. It's also got Kansas City Cop, which I haven't read yet, which sounds fantastic. So it sounds like a TV movie of a book. So let me read you the blurb for it because it really does sound good. I put my teeth in first. She cheated death once, but can she a second time? After Gina Galvin was shot in the line of duty, all she wants to do is return to the front line and stop a shooter. Physical therapist Mike Cutler is attracted to Gina, and he is ready to face anyone, even a killer, to prove he's a hero. So I suspect there'll be a bit of spiciness along with the physiotherapy and cop stuff. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And then I've also got a book which I can't remember if I read before, and that maybe is a feature of trashy books is if you've read one, you don't necessarily remember you've read it, because they're supposed to be, you know, quick, enjoyable entertainment rather than something that has a lasting impact on your life. So Richard Lehman is a well-known horror author who was really prolific in the 80s and 90s, who often gets mentioned when people talk about trashy books. Lehman writes books that are basically the equivalent of like an 80s B-movie horror flick. So you get some gore, you get some kind of slashers and stuff like that. Sometimes you get monsters, and you also get lots of boobs. So Richard Lehman was absolutely obsessed with the female anatomy and spends, probably like 25% of the word count describing the physical attributes of characters rather than getting on with the story. So he's something of an acquired taste. When he's on point, when he's good, he can be, he can deliver. He does, he has decent plots. He's a reasonably good suspense writer, and there's tons of sex and violence. What more could you want from a trashy book? This is one that comes highly recommended. So Kelsey from the channel Slime and Slashers really like this one. I've been meaning to read it for ages, and it's not too long. So I figured that the GarbAugust weekend would be the perfect opportunity to dive into it. I've read loads of Richard Lehman over the years. I was a bit of a fan of his as a teenager, and his writing is definitely writing that would appeal most to teenage males. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. So that's what I'm going to be reading, but what are you going to be reading? Let me know in the comments if you've already picked your reads or read for GarbAugust 1.5. The only requirement is that you read at least one trashy book. As long as you do that, you can say you've taken part. So yeah, really interested to know what people are going to be reading. And if people want recommendations or suggestions, either ask in the comments or hop onto my Discord server, where we've got a channel to discuss GarbAugust, and you can get involved in chats with other people in my Discord community about the kind of books they're reading. So Discord is just a fun place to hang out. It's kind of an extension of the channel, where I go and hang out and talk about books with people, but everyone is welcome to hang out there as well. So yeah, look for the link in the channel, sign up, hop on, join the server, and we can chat about trashy books as well as other sorts of books. So I promised you a surprise, didn't I? So me, along with some of the people who are on my Discord server, have created a Spotify playlist for GarbAugust 1.5. It is a compilation of over 7 hours of trashy music from all sorts of genres. There's all sorts of different stuff in there. I can't guarantee, in fact, let me rephrase that. I can guarantee that no one person out there will like every song in the playlist because it is so diverse. But that's the joy of Spotify, isn't it? You can just skip forward to the next song whenever you want to. So I will leave a link to that in the description for the video as well. Do check that out. It's a lot of fun. I will be listening to it during GarbAugust weekend while I'm reading my trashy books and having a great time. I may even get some trashy snacks in as well. I'm not sure what trashy snacks are. I guess most snacks are trashy, aren't they? Maybe snacks are inherently trashy, but if you say something's a healthy snack, it stops being trashy. Anyway, I will stop babbling now and get a random book from the shelves for you. I thought I'd go mad and get not one random book from the shelves, but 4, all of them trashy. So these are 4 books from the 4 series that I'm gradually reading and have been pretty much since I started the channel. So 4 trashy, very trashy. I'll say trashy again. These are trashy, very trashy books from very trashy series. So let me talk you through them, but they're all great fun. So firstly, from the Mac Bolan, The Executioner series, this is number 17 in the series. There ended up being over 400 books in this series. This is Jersey Gun. So Mac Bolan is basically a vigilante going up against the mafia, so waging a one-man war. In later books he becomes like a kind of spy and stuff like that, goes up against terrorists, but in the early books he's going up against the mafia. Fantastic fun, definitely men's adventure, definitely trash. Next we have Edge, book 18, 10 Tombstones by George G. Gilman. So this is a series of westerns written in the 70s by a British author, one of the kind of crew of British western writers who became known as the Piccadilly Cowboys. I think these books are fantastic, and this one's got a really great cover. The American covers, I have to say, are better than the UK covers. So Edge is basically a complete bastard who kind of wanders around the Old West getting in fights with people, but they are extremely entertaining books. Okay, next up we have The Survivalist, book 15, Overlord by Jerry Ahern. So this is a series of books set in a post-apocalyptic America that's been invaded by Russians, with this guy, John Rourke, travelling around, getting in fights with people, and trying to find his family. So just pure action from beginning to end, tons of guns, and Jerry Ahern spends large sections of the book just describing and naming all the guns that different characters have. So it's definitely politically dubious, shall we say, to a modern reader, but a lot of fun. However, not nearly as politically dubious as this book. So this is Tribesmen of Gore by John Norman, the 10th book in the Gore series. So the Gore series of books is a series of fantasy novels started in the very late 60s and very popular through the 70s, about a guy who gets transported from Earth to another planet called Counter-Earth, which is supposed to be like on the opposite side of the sun to Earth or something like that. And, there's like magic and stuff like that going on there. But there's also a very strange set of rules around sexual relationships. Most of the women on Gore are enslaved. And John Norman basically gets his rocks off talking about that stuff a lot. So the books are really dodgy. And John Norman got worse and worse as he wrote the series, basically. But they are also quite enjoyable, kind of pulpy fantasy novels. So yeah, I do quite enjoy them. So yes, those are the 4 series that I have been reading. I don't think I'll read any of these for the GarbAugust weekend, but I'm enjoying all of them. They are, proof that trash is a regular part of my reading diet. So hope you enjoyed that, and even more importantly, hope you're taking part in the GarbAugust weekend. I am so looking forward to it. So do let me know what books you're thinking about reading. If you want any suggestions, let me know. Hop on the Discord to chat. Do have a listen to the Spotify playlist. It's absolutely wonderful. And yeah, let's all have a fantastic weekend reading trash and chatting to each other about it. But until then, thanks very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.